So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. In this podcast, I have the honor of having invited this amazing personality, Shaina. She's my supervisor. I admire her a lot because of her personality, and not only because of that, because she's also a beautiful soul. She's free and is a person that always inspires you to do more than you do on your comfort zone, to get out of it and always give your best. So, without more preambles, this is Shaina. Hey, Shaina, how you doing today?
Hi. Thank you for the wonderful intro. I really appreciate that. And like I said before, I really appreciate you doing this and putting this together for all of us to look back and watch and remember this awesome time when Manuel worked at Kalahari, because you are an amazing person too. I've had wonderful conversations with you, and I am so honored that you invited me to be here today. So thank you.
So, let's make this moment eternal, as I'm saying, and let's reminisce some layer for moments too in the podcast if it is possible.
Absolutely.
So, if you have to choose one word, which one would it be to define your personality?
To define my personality. Well, I have a million running through my head. I think the best one would probably be authentic. Um, I think I would say authentic because I don't think I'm ever anything 100% of the time. Like, I don't think I'm ever, like, I don't think I'm always brave. I don't think I'm always kind. I don't think I'm always feeling, like, social or feeling motivated or disciplined. You know, I'm just a transient being. So I think authentic would be the best because no matter what, I truly strive to show up, like, as completely myself and, honor my experience, my individual experience every day.
So, you say that you are not like a defined body,
Yes,
that you are like water, like
absolutely.
depending of that, if it is a tea cup, if it is a water bottle, or if it's any other recipient or container, you adapt to the circumstance, your personality, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely consider myself an adaptable and flexible being, but also a being that's not held captive by my container. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like water in a bottle. I'd define myself as like a flowing river. Like, I go where I'm called, and I stay where I'm honored, and I try not to get caught up in who I was yesterday and let that affect who I am today. Regardless of what that might be. I have bad days. I have days where I'm not my highest self. I have days
For
where I'm
sure.
my lowest self. And I try to honor that as my authentic experience and my like real raw experience, because I feel like that's so important when everyone is so caught up in their image now and everyone wants to create this idea of what they are in everyone else's heads. But I just really want to focus on like being real and definitely like trying my best to, like I said, honor that human experience that we all go through, every phase of it.
So you're adaptable, but you don't consider yourself, and you don't contrast your personality with a water that is adaptable to the recipient. But rather than that, you prefer to call yourself a river because you adapt your temperature to the atmosphere. Let's say.
Absolutely.
I got it. I got it. So, what is the condition and the circumstance? I mean, in terms of suffering, in terms of satisfaction that you come from. Where did you used to live? Who were your fathers, your mother? What were their professions when you were a kid?
Well, I grew up in the somewhat small town of Norwalk, Ohio, about half an hour down the road from here. I lived with both my mom and my dad my whole life. They were together my whole life. They're still together, and they still live in the tiny house that I grew up in. My mom has had a few different jobs. Right now, she has a degree in office management, and she does bookkeeping. My dad has been a truck driver for my whole life. It's a pretty good gig. He gets really good insurance, and he gets a lot of time on the road to ponder and think, and we have a lot of good conversations because of that. when I was growing up, we didn't have a lot of money, but I didn't really know any differently. Like, I had food on the table every day, and I got to do fun stuff, you know? Like, I got to have a really awesome birthday party every year. Like, we'd go to Kalahari, or we'd go to, like, Great Wolf Lodge, or, like, a water park or somewhere fun and go stay somewhere. So it was definitely a fun childhood, and I didn't really know anything different until I grew up a little bit and realized that there were people that were, like, way better off. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. But, yeah, I never would have really known that, you know, we were struggling. Like, we've definitely been through some trying times with, like, financials, and, like, my mom has, you know, lost her job a couple times along the way, and they really depend on that dual income. So there's definitely been trying times, but they did their best to never let me know about it, which I'm really grateful for. I'm very close with both of them. I still talk to them every day, and they are a lot of the reason why I am the way that I am, because they've taught me resilience and being real, and, you know, being, you know, a good person, and showing up for people and being kind. And yeah, they've taught me everything that I know. So I grew up there, and I lived there till I was 18, and then I got the heck out of Dodge.
Why? What happened?
Nothing happened. I just have always been very, like, resistant to authority, I feel like. And I'm really into, like, rebellion, so much more so when I was, like, a teenager. So, you know, just living under their house and under their rules, which they weren't very disagreeable rules, like pretty normal rules for a teenager. I didn't like being held in by that. I really wanted to, like, you know, get out there and, like, start, you know, creating my own path. So I moved to Bayview with my current partner that I'm still with. His name is Eric, and he's great, super supportive, and he's been a great guy, and, like, allowed me to run free and discover myself over these years. So it's been a super fun journey, just in Ohio the whole time, but it's been fun and amazing regardless.
And just let me regard to just the decision that you just used. Amazing and unbelievable. I just saw a picture on your profile on Instagram, and you were carrying a snake on your neck. Am I truly saying what I saw?
Yeah. I do have a
true?
pet snake. Her name's Pepper. I've had her since I was 18. She was, like, my first symbol of, like, I don't belong to you anymore, Mom and Dad. Like, I brought this snake home to their house. And my mom threw a fit and was like, that's not, like, you. Like, we had a conversation. She thought I was going to bring home a bearded dragon. I didn't. I brought home a snake. So she was upset about it, but everything ended up being okay. She's still with me.
It was just a snake, a poisonous little cute snake.
She's not poisonous. She's a ball python. She's very timid and very
I'm
shy.
sorry. So there are different species of snake, right?
Yes.
The one that you bought, where did you buy it? How much were it?
I bought her at PetSmart for, like, I want to say, like, 60 or 70 bucks, like, for her alone. And then I have put so much money into her enclosure over the years, so it's probably added up to, like, a couple $1,000s, like, over the years of, like, just, like, care and, like, food and things like that. But the initial snake was only, like, 70
How long
bucks.
do they last?
Ball pythons can live between 20 and 30 years.
Oh my gosh,
if
incredible.
they are well taken care of. So yeah, they're very long.
And the 1 million
lived
question
animal.
is, why did you buy it?
Why did I buy it? Well, like I said, I feel like that was, like, my really, like, I wanted something to take care of, like a pet to take care of. I was raised around animals. So, like, I, you know, mostly understood the responsibility, did lots of research. But I wanted something to be my own, and something that, something that would define me as like a responsible adult that could take care of another being.
What do you find on a python that you didn't find on a German cheetah, or maybe in a bunny, or in a rabbit, or any other animal? I mean,
what did I find in a snake? Well, I found that they are pretty easygoing. Like, this breed of snake that I have specifically is very docile, very temperamental, and very low, like, maintenance in terms of care. I clean out her food bowl, feed her water. I give her a rat once or twice a month at this point, now that she's a grown-up. It was once a week when she was baby. But other than that, she sits in her little rock. Sometimes she comes out at night and slithers around her tank, and I take her out and hold her for couple times a week, and that's about it. She's very simple. She doesn't yell at me. She doesn't meow for food in the morning.
She doesn't yell at you.
No, she doesn't yell at me. No, she doesn't. My cats do, though. My cats yell at me every day.
Do they? Really?
Yes, every day when I wake up, they need their food, man. It's time for breakfast. And then it's time for dinner when I get home from work.
And what do they do if you don't do that?
If I don't feed them,
Exactly.
they scream and they scream, and then they run around the house like crazy little animals.
Do they
And
do mischiefs like, I don't know,
scratch my
breaking-
couch.
Exactly.
They scratch my couch and they poop outside their litter box. If I don't feed them on time, they're bad. But I love them.
Oh my gosh. You're always under pressure the whole time. I guess that was one of your virtues that you were gifted with, and now you're working as a supervisor in a water park for almost, let's say, 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah, about 5 years.
So those kind of experiences make you or build you in what you are now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely consider myself a very resilient person. And I've actually done a lot of work on downsizing the amount of stress in my life over the years, because when I first moved out, I was, right into it. Like, I want to go to school. I want to do all this stuff. I want to get these animals and but something that you don't realize going into that is how much responsibility it can be to care for that many beings that depend on you. So that was a hard lesson that I had to learn. Definitely. I had some exotic birds that I cared for about 3.5 years. They were rescues, and they were a little pack. They weren't really attached to me, but they were rescues. And I was like breaking down from the amount of stress that I was under, just going to school full time and trying to care for my home, and then trying to go to work full time, and then trying to care for these special needs animals that were, they were rescued and they're exotic, so they need special care and they need to go to a special vet that was an hour away. And
a bunch of things.
Yeah, just so many things
account.
all day, and not even a moment to stop and process any of it, or really look at what was going on in my life, or try and make anything better. So I ended up having to make the really super difficult decision to surrender them to a parrot rescue, which was very painful for me, because I have always, lived under the idea that if you take on something, to take care of, it's your responsibility. Like any being, an animal or a child or whatever it is, that's your responsibility. They're part of your family now.
Part of human nature, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Taking care of the rest of the
That definitely is part of my nature. But I was bleeding myself dry, with the amount of work that it took. And I think a lot of people don't realize that when they get pets. They get pets with this idea, oh, I'm gonna have a little friend, but they're a lot
adorable
of work.
And cute, and that's 7. That's it.
Exactly, they're a lot of work. It's something that takes a lot of discipline and a lot of consistency, because you have to show up and do the same thing for that animal every day if you want them to, be happy. So surrendering them was one of the most difficult things that I have ever had to do. I think it was, a time of letting go, and then, looking back and realizing a lot of things that I had internalized and had not dealt with, because I was so caught up in caring for them and just constantly on that grind of going to the next thing and finishing the next thing. And so after I did surrender them, though, I was able to do an immense amount of healing, and I feel much better now and much less stressed out, because now I only have my cats and my snake. So
and a highly conception of sense of maturity, right?
Absolutely. I've learned so much, and I am different because of it, just like I'm different from every experience that I have. So it was meant to happen that way.
Always enhancing your personality, your maturity, your responsibility, your caregiver abilities. Amazing. That actually happened to me also. I have a pet in my house. 2 pets, to be honest. One is called, I just forgot because of the 3 months of work and travel experience. But I haven't that focus now. But one of those pets is Scott. I just remember. The other is Max.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't like, actually.
I can see why you couldn't remember his name then.
Yeah. That's why, absolutely. And the thing is that I'm trying, since they were babies, they were puppies, I'm trying to feed them up. But Scott was the first pet who came to our family, who was a new integrant in our family. I actually adore Scott. He is, I can say that I'm identified with him. Scott. He's all now 9-year dog, and we are used to hang out on weekends, and I feel free when I'm with him, walking or running or shouting or yelling. Because when he's yelling, I'm yelling too. So we are like the perfect soulmates
Yeah.
partner. You know what I mean? And that's how I define my dogs. And as you say, they provide you some sense of maturity. You need to take care of them. You want them always to feel good. So yeah, absolutely agree with what you just said. Let's move on to another topic. So you were saying you're a supervisor, and I also admire you because you are not any common supervisor, but you are one in a million.
Thank you.
So why did you become lifeguard?
Why did I become a lifeguard?
Yeah.
Well, to be completely frank with you, I was 17 and I was working at McDonald's, or I was 16, not quite 17. I was working at McDonald's and I hated my job and my job hated me, and I really needed a new one. And one of my friends that I went to school with was like,
Sorry to interrupt you. Why
You're
do
okay.
you used to hate your job at McDonald's?
At McDonald's, well, partially because I was a bratty teenager, and partially because I did not like the work environment. It was a lot of really sad, older people in management that, were just kind of, you're stuck at McDonald's for life, which is like,
I get what you mean.
I think that anybody that has a job and is working to provide for themselves is great. And I think that everybody deserves respect, whether you're the janitor or the CEO.
Absolutely.
But, for me personally, that's just a stepping stone. McDonald's is just a stepping stone. So I didn't enjoy the environment and like the attitudes of people that, worked there. And I feel like McDonald's could be a great place to work as long as management are great people to work with. But that definitely wasn't my case. I didn't like it.
So it was about all the environment, right?
It was the environment, but the customers, I really struggle with the customers too, because there's this attitude around fast food workers that, like they're just like, people speak to you like you're less than them. And
like you were slaves or nothing
Exactly.
or shit maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Lazy, worthless, whatever. Like unsuccessful. Like, and I just despised that. Like, I am a teenager in high school just trying to get by. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I despised that. And anybody, people work at places for different reasons, and there's no reason to judge that.
Exactly. We are trying to enhance our economic situation,
Exactly. And you're not gonna get your caramel frappe if you don't have the person that's working at McDonald's to make it for you.
So stop diminishing workers at McDonald's, please.
Yeah. Exactly. Stop being rude to workers at McDonald's or anywhere. That would be great. But yeah, my friend was like, you should come work at Kalahari. I'm a lifeguard there. It's really cool. And I was like, wow, that sounds like a really fun place to work. Like, I went there when I was a kid, so
What
let's
made
go
you
try it
fall
out.
in love at the first sight in Kalahari?
Oh my gosh, like, I think just the brand new experience of like being in a fun environment, having all these interesting attractions to work, and like everybody that, your perspective changes everything. So like, before I realized that there was gonna be so many, things that happened at Kalahari and so many guests that would alter my perspective on humanity in the best and the worst ways, you're just delighted by the positivity of the environment. Like, everybody's so happy and everybody's smiling and laughing, and it's like, wow, this is
Were
great.
everybody smiling actually?
I feel like, yeah. As I remember, I literally have a specific memory of one of my managers standing inside the park. Like, it was like, it stuck with me for some reason. He's standing inside the park waiting for us to open. The lifeguards are all coming out to position. And there's a group of people behind him waiting to come in for the park, like, first thing in the morning. Like, he let them in, but he was, like, standing, like, in front of them so that they wouldn't go. And everyone was just, like, like, so excited. And I was like, oh, my gosh, that's, like, super fun. I love the
Contagious.
the happiness. Yeah, contagious happiness, for sure. And I get moments like that all the time at Kalahari, like watching little kids like be super happy or like get super excited about something, or like just watching people laugh and have good times. Like, it's pretty cool.
And then just those troublesome kids start to mess up on your entire perception about the water park, right?
Yeah, dude. That is probably where it started for me, was like Layer or Kid Safari. Was like, wow, this might not be as good as I thought it was. But so is life.
Otherwise, without downs, what would life be? You know,
Absolutely. Then we wouldn't understand
that is
how
the
good things
flavor.
are.
That is the decent part. I mean, that is what gives the flavor to the food,
Absolutely.
right?
The zest. It's the zest of life.
That's
The
us.
spice of life, like, is the duality of, like, the chaos and the pain and the bad parts. And then, like, you realize, like, how amazing it is to experience, like, the good parts of life, like connection with your coworkers, or, like,
Of course.
those great moments of happiness, watching people, like, ride the flow rider at work, or, like, you know, stuff like that. Like, the funny, silly little moments that if you don't really look at them, then they just pass you by. But
Yeah.
you gotta really appreciate them and look at them, because it's the best part.
So was a contagious happiness what brought you into Waterpark, right?
I think so. I think I would say that the happiness and the positivity is as well as, like, the team, like, environment, like the work, you know, feeling like you're working in a team, and, like, feeling like you're a part of a team, like, that also helped me.
I would
Like,
say
kept
even
me
a
there for
family,
sure.
right? Even like a family.
Absolutely. Yeah. I definitely could say that I feel like that for sure. Because you go through all these experiences that are totally unique to not only just Kalahari, but, like, Sandusky Kalahari, that, you know, really band you together to those people that you experience those moments with. Like, you never forget some of your most, like, crazy moments at Kalahari. Like, when you saw that, never mind. When you saw that crazy guest doing that crazy thing or whatever, like.
Just messing around. well, so crazy guests, crazy attitudes, unwavering positivity around. So that was the perfect environment to work for you. Cool. So that was where your great journey as a lifeguard started, right? It's been said that lifeguarding is not an easy peasy job because you go from 0 to 100 in a blink of an eye. What is your perspective?
100%. I agree with that. Because you can spend months and months and months going to work and doing the same thing every day, and nothing happens, and you're bored and you're exhausted, and, like you said earlier, you're just on autopilot. You know, you're not even really there. You're not
In
even
the
really
bottom of
checked
trouble
in.
waiting
And
for somebody.
in one split second, your whole world can be turned upside down because something terrible has happened, and you need to be the one to react to that, and you need to be there. And you know, you could be a zombie for months, and then you have to be there, and you have to be in it, and you have to be alert, and you have to know everything that you need to do, which is so much more easily said than done. Like, you can practice these skills and you can do everything over and over again, but nothing will prepare you for actually being in that situation, you know, and having to care for somebody that's going through something life-threatening. It's very real, and it's very scary, and I feel like that's why training is so important. That's why I put so much into my in-services, and I try really hard to, you know, if people ask me for help, like you ask me for help, I really try to make a time, you know, for that to happen, because it's so important that our lifeguards are confident, you know, and I try to go around and check on people whenever I have the chance, because, like, you got to make sure people are there, you know what I mean? You got to make sure nobody's checked out, and make sure everyone's paying attention and ready for whatever's going to happen, because it does happen, and at the times that you least expect it to.
Yeah,
So-
and unexpected circumstances can happen anytime.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe you're in the bottom of Provo, one of the most prestigious and well-known attractions and well-known positions of a lifeguard. When being a deep, eventually you turn from aquatic shadow to a deep. And on the bottom of Tanzanian Twister, I always expect to challenge myself. Actually, I would say it's the best second attraction after Layer 4, and I already told you why Layer 4 is my favorite attraction.
Right.
So the second will be, as I told you, Tanzanian Twister, because in Tanzanian Twister, you'll never know what kind of volume, in terms of volume, what kind of people is going to fall, it's going
Right.
to jump, and you don't even know if you're going to be able to rescue that victim. And you don't even know if it is going to be a passive or active victim.
Right.
In both cases, it gets worse when it's a passive, because if it is somebody that do not know how to swim, then he or she can punch you on the face,
Right.
and get you unconscious. Then, and then the supervisor, management, got to jump in to rescue both victims.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen.
So life-threatening, right? Life-threatening.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
you're putting your life into the line when being in the bottom of Tanzanian Twister. But I love being there because I love uncomfortable. That's how I am, and I cannot say how grateful I am with Kalahari of putting me every time in Zen and Twister. Mm, thanks Kalahari. Thanks Kalahari.
I think that your quality of never wanting to stay comfortable is something that is going to bring you great success in life, and it's something that you should always strive for, because the comfort zone is where dreams go to die, I think. So
Completely agree with you. Completely agree with you. Never in the comfort zone. Never stay in your comfort zone. Never, never, never. So, what about your ability to handle pressure? Don't you struggle to regain composure? How do you canalize your negative emotions and feelings?
that is a great question. Something that I've spent so many years working on. I have done a lot of work with breath work and meditation and yoga. I believe that those are very powerful tools that we can use to regulate our nervous systems, because I feel like when our nervous systems are activated, like in moments of anger or moments of like, fight or flight, like when you're feeling like you don't know what to do, like you're stressed out, overweight, overstimulated with the situation, it is so important to be able to find your center, to just be able to count to 10 and take multiple deep breaths to be able to calm yourself down and bring your own heart rate down so that you can respond effectively to whatever situation that you're dealing with. Because panicking, losing your mind, like freaking out, like that never helped anybody. And, losing your cool in a situation with a guest immediately puts the guest in the upper hand, right? In any situation, losing your cool puts that other person into the upper hand, because, now they can look at you and they can label you as unstable, or they can label you as a hothead, or whatever they might want to do. But if you remain calm, you always win. And I used to really struggle with that as like a teenager, and somebody struggling with lots of emotions and lots of changes and transitions that I wasn't like, didn't feel ready for, or whatever. Like, it can be a lot. And when you're super mad and you're super angry, that can totally like overshadow your sense of logic and your sense of reasoning and your ability to handle things effectively, and with a good outcome. So I have spent years, teaching myself, like, you need to step back and take a breath. You don't need to scream. You don't need to yell. You don't need to freak out. You don't need to retaliate. Like, you just need to focus on centering yourself and controlling yourself, because if you can react calmly, you always win in whatever situation that you're in. And I don't always do great at that. Like, I have definitely blown up and freaked out and had my fair share of mess ups, because of my inability to control my emotions. But after putting in so much work, I feel so much better and so much more brave facing like stressful situations, because I trust that I'm not going to lose my cool, and I trust that I'm going to be able to maintain composure and ultimately solve whatever issue I'm heading into. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever
Absolutely.
the outcome might be, I know that everything's going to be okay. And I'm just a little human here right now, and I might be freaking out, but my mind freaking out is not a part of me. It's just my anxiety is outside of me. You know what I mean? I don't have to connect with it, and I don't have to identify with it.
Perspective.
Yeah.
You talk in terms of in spiritual terms, and I love how you define your soul. That when your anxiety comes up, that is not you. It's like something. It's like a second assessment. It's something that is out of you, but is attracted to you just a little short period of time. And when you say that you have three methods to try to manage your bad emotions and feelings, you say you remain calm the whole time. So it's meditation, breathing, and the other one was yoga, right?
Yoga, yeah.
And actually, I thought there was so difficult to start meditating. At the first time I started meditating, I was reading the book mindfulness, and yeah, it's a powerful tool. Mindfulness is a powerful tool because it makes you canalize all those feelings, all those emotions, in order for you to get free of them.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, how long did it take you to learn to master those meditation skills?
I am by no means a master. I am definitely a student.
You're a student?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm no master of
Because I
meditation.
feel you
or
like a master. I
well,
can feel you like a
I
master.
feel honored by that. Thank you. I am no master in anything. I know nothing. I am learning every day and trying to be better, but I still have so far to go.
But you have a teacher or something?
Everybody's my teacher. You're my teacher.
Oh, appreciate
He's
that.
my teacher. I am a student to everybody that I meet because everybody has something to teach me, whether that be something bad, like something that I needed to learn that might not feel so good, or whether that be, a spiritual teacher, somebody that shows me a better way to do things in any way, shape, or form. What was the question?
Who was your teacher? I mean, not talking in general terms, but do you know a person who has mastered the meditation skills that teach you some details and makes you improve your meditation skills?
Yes, absolutely. I would say my great friend Mallory. She works as a bartender in Sortino's. She has taught me so much about yoga and how to and meditation alike, because they come together and they really work together when you use them appropriately.
Okay.
And so much about awareness in my mind and my body, and about what the ultimate goal is in meditation, which is to be totally connected to the current moment, and letting go of all the rest of the things that fill our minds every day.
Of course.
Being mindful. She's definitely not the only one. I've watched lots of videos, lots of podcasts. Ram Dass has been a huge inspiration to me in this spiritual journey that I'm on. I've learned countless things from countless people that I probably couldn't even name, and I've taken a little bit from each person, but it's all just a learning experience, and we're all at different places in it. I'm not even really that good at meditating. Like, I sit down and I give it 30 seconds and I'm like, oh, I'm hungry. What's for dinner tonight? Or why did I say that yesterday? Or why did I do that thing? Or oh my God, I need to do this thing tomorrow. And that is the whole point, is those things pop up. It's inevitable. But learning how to just watch them float on by and let them go, and not attaching yourself to them, and then going on into this spiral of oh, but what about this? And what about this? And like the mind likes to do. It's about just letting it float by and staying in that moment, that moment of presence that you're in, and not allowing yourself to get attached to any of the other things that aren't really what's happening and what's in that moment that you're in. So,
actually, I can feel that calm, that how calm you are when you talk, when you express your emotions, your feelings. You always remain calm, as I was saying before. So if you're a student with this highly level of expertise in meditation now, I don't imagine you in 5 years now being like Aristotle or Platon, like a philosopher.
I don't know where I'll be in 5 years from now.
Or
I think I'm always going to be a student, and I think I'm always going to be a master in the same breath. You know what I mean? I have the things that I know, are inborn spiritual wisdom that all of us have access to, and all of us have the ability to work on and cultivate within ourselves. And the idea, the perspective of learning from everybody that you meet goes way deeper than just mastering something, or becoming the master. We were once the student, and now you're the master, and now you must teach the other students. I mean,
I know your point.
there is an element of that, because we're always there's always people following behind us that maybe they're following in our footsteps, maybe they're not, but you will always run into an opportunity to plant a seed of wisdom, of kindness, of grace, of servitude, of whatever it might be. You will always have an opportunity to be the teacher, but you should never look at life like you are the teacher either.
That's a great message.
Thank you.
I would say that, yeah, eventually And gradually, since we are meeting new people, new souls, basically, we learn from them, even from, let's say, from the nerdiest or from the most, even from the most, the worst bullshit phrase, we learn something new. Even from the
Absolutely.
worst attraction, later for we learn something new.
Oh, absolutely. Even from the worst person, like the person that, your biggest enemy is your biggest teacher as well.
Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power, right? All the time, all the time. And yeah, we are always in a constant walk by learning new things every day. Otherwise, we would not be able to grow
Absolutely.
professionally, familiar, in an holistic realization. We couldn't be able to reach that level. And another question is, what is your biggest conviction?
What is my biggest conviction? I was actually watching your podcast with Travis the other day, and he asked you to explain this one, and I'm so glad that he did, because it really helped me to like think about it. My biggest conviction is the knowledge that every single day can be an opportunity to completely change somebody's life, whether it's by helping somebody cross the road or picking up an animal off the street and taking it to a wildlife rehabilitation center, or just taking time to see somebody and really acknowledge somebody for who they are and what they have to offer to the world, because we get so caught up in the negative and gossip and whatever, like all the bad shit, but the idea of just making somebody feel seen and valued and possibly like changing their perspective on themselves and changing their perspective on the world can have a huge ripple effect into, they could turn around and be the person that cures cancer, or be the person that discovers something discovers a brand new animal or something. Somebody that might have been changed or altered by something that you said to them, or something that you inspired within them. You know what I mean?
So you're saying like, stop your so busy journey, stop walking on your way, being egocentric, being selfish, and look around and try to pick those little details of life to improve the way you feel, to improve how you see that the world can change in a positive way.
Absolutely. Like knowing that I have the ability to change the world with my actions, with my words, with the way that I uplift somebody, or the way that I show somebody, something beautiful about them that they might not have realized before, or maybe they did realize it before. Maybe I just made them focus on it a little bit more and realize that they really have something special. Like those moments, I live for those moments. Those moments, like when I've had people turn around and come back to me and be like, hey, like, I just wanted to let you know that, like, that conversation that we had, like, it really affected me, and, like, it, really made me realize something. And then they talk about how they're doing great things now, and they might have been in a really difficult situation before, and there's nothing that can touch that for me. Like, that's the reason why I wake up every day, because there's a chance that you could change somebody's life. Even if you don't, that chance was still there, and that chance will still be there tomorrow. And through changing, like through speaking that life and speaking that light into people, it creates a ripple effect that goes through the whole world, and it spreads light, it spreads that light, and spreads that love. I don't mean to be cheesy, but
Life
spreads that light through the whole world. And that's how I believe we are so powerful. Even as individuals, we are so powerful because of our perspective, and because of what we have the ability to speak into existence, because our words are so magical and powerful. And but basically that's the point. Like my conviction is the idea that you can change the world every day just by what you do or what you say.
And let me cite a little phrase from I Have a Dream speech of Martin Luther King Jr. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up against the discrimination, the segregation, Oh, I just forgot it.
I don't even
I
know
just
it.
forgot
So
it. And I'm used to say
Yeah.
this out loud in my house, and people say I'm crazy because they don't understand English. Well, that pretty much what happened is that I always internalize those little quotes from Martin Luther King Jr., which are powerful. You said words
Absolutely.
are powerful, and that changed my perspective of life. Every day, maybe I just got up from my bed, kind of exhausted, kind of tired. I don't want to work. I don't want to study. I don't want to do any shit. But I then realized that, hey, the world needs you. The world needs people that inspire other people
Absolutely.
to be better person. Even when the most humble job position that you have, your actions can repercute in some way.
You can
in
change the
other
world
lives.
as the janitor or as the homeless person on the side of the street. There's nothing that says that you can't make a huge difference from right where you're at. Nothing at all. And honestly, you know, the people that I've met in those positions are some of the wisest people that I ever know, because they've dealt with, you know, the shit that nobody else deals with,
Yeah.
that the things that people might not ever have to deal with in their whole lives, like, and they know a different side of things, a side that is so valuable and something that is to be, you know, acknowledged and seen and spoken, because without those perspectives we would never gain an understanding of, like, you know, the duality of being a human, and, you know, how big and scary and sad this world can be sometimes. And, like, it's important to see the other side of where you're at in life, because I see so many people go through life and never even consider, like, stepping out of their little bubble of life, you know, to look at their neighbor and to feel their neighbor's pain and sit in their neighbor's pain with them. Looking at other people's hardships is, like, the hardest, like, being there with other people's hardships is the hardest thing that I think that we are called to do as humans. Especially in Western society, we are so isolated and focused on our hyper independence, which is really sad, because the human experience is one that takes a community to
We're
create.
sociable.
Yeah, exactly. We are social creatures, and, you know, connection with other humans is so important. But I've noticed this trend of, like, you know, looking away when things are uncomfortable, like when things are hard to look at, like death and homelessness and disease and addiction and, like, all these things that plague us, like. But this is humanity, and this is what we need to be looking at. We need to be looking at it. We need to be seeing these people. We need to be helping these people, because these people are us. Like, the awareness that exists within these people is also the awareness that exists within us. And let me just start crying right now. It's just hard, because I feel like the world is so, like, everything is kind of meant, like, in media and things like that, to kind of beat away at your empathy and to, like, make you less of a sensitive person. And I was always told when I was growing up, you know, you're so sensitive, like, you're so dramatic, like, you're so sensitive. And, like, and I am I am a sensitive person, and I take pride in that now, because empathy is it can be a curse, but it can also be, you know, a huge blessing and a tool that we can use to connect with our neighbor and connect with our brother and connect with our sister. And we're lacking connection in this country. Like I said earlier, everyone's so focused on their image and, you know, like, creating this idea of themselves in other people's heads. But, like, we need people that are showing up as real people and, you know, really acknowledging that pain and that struggle, because that's how we start to change it.
Like, everybody's Instagram profile should change to the saddest points of their lives. Not only just showing pictures where they are smiling, when they're with their family, or maybe when they are with their most luxurious car ever.
That's why social media is so fake.
Exactly. And then they quote Elon Musk. He said that, well, I deleted my account of Instagram because in Instagram the only thing you see is people's best version of themselves. But while others are watching those profiles, they think they are the happiest people in the world.
And then they envy them.
Exactly. When they're actually empty, they are sad. They are almost suicidal.
Yes.
So those kind of extreme perspective, exaggerated, makes you think twice. And then some intelligent people come to a conclusion that that is not real. But what about the 90% of people who don't see it like that? They just watch the world in a worst way. How can we change that?
Well, I don't necessarily believe that there is a way to completely change it, because the human experience will always be a painful one at some point or another, for everybody. And I don't remember if I saw it on a podcast or read it in a book or whatever, but somebody said, oh, yes, it was the Duncan Trussell Family Hour. I was watching this podcast and somebody was telling a story of their mentally ill mother or something of that sort. She was schizophrenic. They were talking about, the different perspectives of mental illness in compared to Eastern and Western countries, which was very interesting. Okay. But he was talking about this woman with schizophrenia who said something along the lines of, there's people that are pouring poison into our rivers just to poison the rivers. And that really stuck with me, because it means like there are people that have, from the moment they were conscious, from the moment they were aware, have been just evil, producing evil, involved in destruction, just destroying everything that they see, not creating anything, not cultivating anything.
That is profound.
Just destroying. And I don't know that there is a way to turn the most dark, evil person around, because I don't know that people that are like that could really ever, connect to the opposite of their reality, which is pain, fear, murder, rape, whatever horrible thing that, they've attached themselves to. Some people live their whole life stuck there,
but they feel normal.
Exactly. It feels normal for them. Maybe they were raised that way. Maybe they were raised, in a really dark life, and that's not an excuse. It's an explanation. But the point is, all we can do is try to make each moment better for the person that's next to us. And there will always, I truly believe that just because of the way that our brains are and how easily manipulated our minds are, by the experiences in the womb and by substances that we use, by the food that we eat, the way that our minds are so easily affected, I feel like there's always going to be people that perpetuate the bad and the evil. And the more that we fight with those people on Facebook, or the more that we share the posts of this place got burglarized, or this person got murdered, or this and that, all this darkness, the more that we share it and the more that we ponder on that, the more it creates that in our reality. And some people might say that, that's spiritual bypassing. When I say that, I'm just ignoring all the bad parts of life, just to focus on the good, but that's not true. The bad is there. The bad is always going to be there. And like I said earlier, it's important to sit with that uncomfortableness and that ugliness and that dirtiness and really see it, because it is part of our duality, what makes us human. We all have a light side and we all have a dark side. But whichever wolf you choose to feed is the one that's going to grow. So.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with you when you say we are partially dark, partially white. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It gives us balance. It gives us a sense of stability. Otherwise, our emotions would have been just white or just dark, and that is not good. Even in terms of extroversion and introversion, and pure introvert would not survive in this world.
Absolutely.
He or she would die in a matter of years. Because, for introverts, they are downloaded when they are surrounded by a lot of people. They suck their energy. And for an extrovert, it's totally opposite. That when the extrovert is surrounded by people, he recharges their batteries. So then they can feel maybe like more energetic or more happier,
Right.
or feeling positive emotions or feelings in general. So we need to be partial. Like we need to, in this, our scale should be balanced, right? That is the point. I understand. You already answered the question. What is your own conception of happiness? You said those little details, the simple activities you do when your job inspire others. That's
Yes.
what's the conception of happiness for you. That is right.
Yes, absolutely. My conception of happiness is 100% those moments when people, if somebody, like the moments when I realize that I've inspired somebody or that I've changed something, changed the course of something and sent it on a brighter path than it was originally going, like that is, yeah, 100% fills my little heart with happiness for sure.
Oh, it's so adorable of hearing. The next question goes beyond the expectations as
Okay.
the level of
As-
Kalahari.
All right. Kalahari promise. Gotta live that
Promise
promise.
time. What scares you the most?
What scares me the most? Probably like the same thing as most people. I don't know if most people feel like this. I don't know. I haven't really talked about it that much. That something could possibly happen that takes all the people that I love away from me, like a big cataclysmic event, and then I'm left without the people that, you know, bring the most meaning into my world, into my life. You know, like war or like something terrifying like that, you know, like a mass shooting or something. But that is something that I don't ponder on for long when it pops into my head. You know what I mean? Because
it just goes away in a short period of time.
It doesn't go away on a short period of time. I force it away
Oh,
because
okay. Okay, I understand
because
that.
and I'm not saying that I repress that feeling. Worry and anxiety, like I talked about earlier, you know, that doesn't belong to us. It's something that comes from outside of us that creates a battlefield in our nervous system, in our internal world. And I have made the conscious choice and put in a lot of inner work over the years to make my inner world a beautiful, positive place. And I refuse to exist in a reality that isn't actually happening, like at, you know, the point that I'm in.
Wow,
So
it just
like,
blew my mind.
if my mom is not dead right now, which she's not, which I'm so grateful for. If my mom is not dead right now, I'm not going to focus on, you know, the fearful thoughts in my head, like, oh, your mom could pass away or whatever. I'm not going to focus on that. I instead use that fear, that thing that scares me the most, you know, losing everybody, and use it as fuel to push me to connect deeper and love more and be more of service, you know, and really appreciate those moments that I have with the people that I do love. Because I mean, it's true, nothing is certain, and it all could be gone tomorrow. And
Yeah, totally agree.
and that's why it's so important to me to constantly just try and be as present as I can and show the most gratitude that I can for the people in my life. Because I feel like for a lot of people, it's easier for them to focus on the negative, whether it's like they're complaining about their server, they're complaining about their partner, or like it's just easier for people to talk about the bad. Even like, but it's so hard for people to uplift each other and to just support each other and try to push each other to do better, because we're all on this boat together. We're all on the boat of life. Like, I mean, yeah, we're on different boats. Like, some people are on yachts, some people are on lifeboats, but we're all in it together. We're all going towards the finish line together of life. And it's
I
this,
share your
and like
point.
you said earlier, competition is very important, but when it comes down to it, we're all humans. We all have the same struggles. We all have the same pains. I said that wrong. We do not all have the same struggles, but we all experience the whole spectrum of human emotion, right? And that's difficult. Being a human is hard. Being a human is super fucking tough. And
It should be.
And that's why it's important to just be as kind as you can be and leave a lasting impact on the people that love you, because it could all be gone tomorrow. And what if you never got the chance to tell that person that you think that they're an amazing writer and that they need to do it? And then what if they never did continue writing? Or What if you never told that person that you love them and then they drifted away and then they passed away and you never got to tell them how you actually felt about them? Like, that is what drives me. Like, my biggest fear is what drives me to be the best version of myself that I can be every day.
As you were saying, it's heavier the weight of the what would have been if I could do this.
Yes, exactly.
Or this other activity. And that's what I love trying. I prefer a thousand times rejection rather than regret.
100%. Like, to know that I tried instead of knowing that I never went for it at all.
Exactly,
Like,
100%.
That's something that, people really do look back on. Like, I've spent some time reading interviews with people on their deathbeds, and that's like a huge regret that people cite. Like, so often, like, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have told this person how I felt. I wish I would have taken this opportunity. Like, life passes us by so quickly, and like, you have to take it by storm. Like, you have to take it and you have to do with it what you want to do with it, because you don't have forever. And
totally sure.
Like, I want to spend my time, uplifting the people around me and serving the people around me and creating an amazing, adventurous story for my life, rather than focusing on, like, all the shit that we love to focus on as humans and create in our own minds, and all the problems that we like to live in. Yeah, I forgot where I was going with that.
I share your opinion 100%, because you say it's easier to focus on the negative side and it's hard. That's why I consider that both of us, we are in the group of those 10% of people who try to see, like, more deeply, more like deeper in the positive side of the problems, of the troubles, of the adversities, in general. And well, just we need to do our best always, and don't be mediocre, don't practice conformism in your life. That will drive you to the exit area. I mean, to that successful area. I would say successful.
Yes.
Yeah, successful area. So try as hard as you can.
Always do your best and always be real. Like, there's no point to try and act like something you're not, or trying to create a facade that doesn't really exist, because true, authentic connection comes when you're real and honest with yourself and honest with the people around you. And it comes when you express your gratitude, which is so hard for so many people, but I think as a society, we're slowly getting better day by day at expressing what we're grateful for, and really, like, feeling the feelings, like the great feelings and the bad feelings. Like, that's why I want to go into mental health. Like, it's so important to acknowledge and honor what you're feeling, because it's all meant to teach you something, and it's all meant to show you something. And I think your body is such an intelligent, amazing thing that, will protect you and will keep you safe, and will tell you, will intuitively tell you, like, when you need to be moving on to a different path, or, changing what you need to be doing. Even if your mind isn't, your body will tell you, like, your gut will tell you, like, trust your gut. Like, just be real.
Let me interrupt you there. When you say that your body is telling you, go and try to visualize the positive side, because there is a little research, and that is a short YouTube video in which there's a bacteria getting into your blood torrent, and you have in the blood, you have 3 types of elements. Let's say there's the blood white cells, the white blood cells, and the platelets. So what happens? The red blood cells are the ones in charge of providing you the transportation of the oxygen. The white blood cells give you the defense against bacteria, against infections, or something contagious that comes from the environment into your body. So there was a microscope, and a digital microscope. The lens were focused on the bacteria and in the blood. The bacteria getting into the blood torrent, and what can you imagine what happened? The bacteria was being defeated gradually because of the union of your team. Your team was the white blood cells.
Yeah.
And that wow, it's wonderful to see that.
I know, it's
in
so
a
crazy.
microscopic way, in a microscopic view, that you are not alone.
Yeah.
You're never
Oh,
alone.
that gave me goosebumps. I love that. Yes, your body is your bestest friend in the whole world. And there's so much like self-image issues, and I struggle with it too, just like many women do, and many men as well. Like, oh, I wish I looked like this, or I wish I looked like that. Like, dude, this is the most crazy, trippy experience that any being will ever experience, being a human. So to be upset about something like your stretch marks, or like your hair doesn't grow right, or like your eyebrow looks weird or whatever, like that is so funny to me how we do that. Because, and we don't do it to anything else. Like, you don't see a tree that's like super unique and you're not like, that tree's like ugly, bro. Like, you don't do that. Like, we appreciate the beauty and the differences of everything in the world, but then when it comes to ourselves, we're like, oh, everything needs to be exactly the same, or it's not acceptable. And I think that's just a really interesting little like manufacturing issue with humans.
I mean, well, we are in the process, of being mature. So in that way, we are gonna realize that some things are ridiculous, some things are meant to be natural, need to be authentic, to be like a star, and a star have his own light.
Right.
And what is marvelous here is that when you see the sky, you see the past, because when a star pops up, or let's say it's extinguished, what you see in the sky, the explosion that you see, because this is light years away, is the past, and that's what is wonderful. And that's only talking about the stars, the constellation. So we need to be authentic, we need to be original, and we need to appreciate ourselves.
Yeah, man. And like, just really live your life. Like, don't repress yourself for your whole life and then look back and be like, man, I wish I would have done all this amazing stuff that I wanted to do, but that I was too scared to do. Like, our fear holds us back. And that's why I try not to feed fearful thoughts, but rather, transform them into something that I can make into something beautiful, and work to create something beautiful through that. So
yeah, 100% agree with you. Could you describe your perfect soulmate in terms of mind and body?
Good question. Well, with respects to my partner that I'm with right now, I love you, baby. Oh. You are my soulmate. But if I were to describe my perfect soulmate in terms of mentality, it needs to be somebody that is positively, like, oriented with being positive and looking on the brighter side of things. Like, being with a cynic or being with somebody that can like really get caught up in the negative is really exhausting. So they need to be somebody that's positive no matter what. Like, obviously they need to be authentic and real, so like they need to appreciate the entire spectrum of the human experience, but there's always a brighter side to look on in any situation. So somebody definitely would need to have that mentality. Somebody that believes that working on themselves is in turn making the world a better place, I think is really important. Because you can't pour from an empty cup. So it's really important that somebody cares enough about themselves, to care about themselves and to build themselves up so that they can give to others. An attitude of servitude, a sense of humor. Like, you gotta be able to make me laugh. Like, we gotta be able to like kick it and be funny, like, and laugh, because life is so funny. It's so funny. So we got to be able to laugh, they got to be real. They got to be somewhat intelligent, like hold a deep conversation, be able to emotionally intelligent as well, like be able to recognize, you know, when something needs work, like in themselves. And somebody that's spiritually inclined, you know, that somebody that believes that there's something bigger and, you know, maybe something worth working towards out there. In terms of body, I find myself, for some reason, really attracted to skinny dudes with long hair. That's like my, it's like my thing.
I respect that.
But I am pansexual, so I really just like find beauty in, like, I feel like most people have, you know, this beauty about them, and I can appreciate, and I would date, you know, a variety of body types. I don't have any really specific preference. I just, in my past, I feel like I have definitely leaned towards skinny dudes with long hair. So
Because I'm asking you this because you were saying that, well, actually one of the requests is to be mentally, let's say, mentally, a requirement should be like that person should always, I mean, always is ideal, because we are not always looking to the bright side of the coin. We sometimes make mistakes. We are humans, and that's why. But so that's the reason why I was asking you what would be a perfect, like a utopian soulmate. You know what I'm talking about? And the case, for example, of body, Ring Collins, my friend lifeguard, a friend of mine.
I did watch a little bit of her podcast too. It was very good.
And she was saying that in terms of body, he needs somebody that is not as strong. I mean, not too strong, not too big. The only request that I am asking is that he can be energetic.
Energetic, yeah.
And he can catch me if he can. You know, like
yeah,
I can
catch
challenge.
me if you can.
Exactly,
Yeah.
like the movie from
Right.
Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah. So because I'm so energetic too, and I have a strong passion to practice extreme sports. So if it is a person who cannot or doesn't like to move a lot or being in a constant pressure in terms of exercises, then I'm going to get
Bored?
bored, exactly, easily.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I would not want to be with somebody that just sits at home all day and wants to just sit there and watch TV when they're not at work. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's just kind of, it's boring. Exactly. But I am also not, like, I have a gym membership, but I don't use it very often. I'm not like I'm not like a gym person, but I am very much into like being in nature, going on really long hikes, like going kayaking, going swimming, going to the beach, you know, walking like everywhere. Like I love dancing. I'm a fire performer, so I dance with fire, and
nice.
it's like I said, I do yoga, you know, things like that. I'm really into that type of movement, and my partner is as well, which is why we work so well together. But I don't think that I could be with somebody that, or maybe not right now, because I definitely do want to be a gym girl someday, but not right now, because I'm just like really busy.
The female Arnold Schwarzenegger version?
No, maybe not. I just want to be like maybe like
just kidding.
a little skinnier, but let me not get caught up in wanting to be different. But no, I mean, the biggest thing is just wanting to be healthy for me now. Like, I feel like that's really shifted, like, from when I was a kid. Like, I struggled with body images a lot as a teenager, but, like, now that I'm older, I'm really into just, like, you know, if my body's healthy, like, if I'm, like, I'm in good shape and I can do all the things that I want to do, like, without being limited by that, then I feel like that's, like, you're winning. Like, you're great and your body's great if it can do all that stuff. If I began to feel limited in any of the things that I wanted to do, then that's a notice that it's time to like work harder. You know what I mean? Like you should never feel limited by your body.
Exactly. That's key to know.
Yeah, man. And it's, you know, in my family and in my experience, I feel like there's so many older people that, you know, just get caught up in like, let me just take pain pills and let me just, you know, like push my symptoms down, you know, like make the symptoms go away, but never actually getting to the root cause of the problem, which is most likely, you know, food that you're eating, or your lack of physical activity, or your lack of willingness to work on your mobility and your physical state. But
absolutely agree.
being in physical shape to do whatever you want to do is so freeing. Like, I had knee surgery back in September, and that was definitely a learning experience. And it wasn't the worst thing in the world, but it was very, like, I felt like I was in prison. Like, because I couldn't move, you know what I mean? Like, I could move around and, like, get up, but I have to take crutches with me everywhere, and I can't, like, get up and go clean up, or, like, you know, do something. Like, if
You couldn't be yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I couldn't be free in my body.
Totally
And
understand.
that's, like, yeah, that's, like, taking away from the human experience. So I feel like definitely somebody that's active and takes care of themselves. But I could not, at this point, I don't think, handle somebody that was, like, let's get up at 5 a.m. every day, go to the gym, protein shakes, we're cutting, we're gym pictures and, like, the
Gym bros.
mirror, like,
A gym bro.
yeah, gym bro, like, that's not my stuff. But I don't think the gym bros really would want to hang out with me either, so.
Well, it's depending on their perspective. You
Oh,
know?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm definitely an intense, like, person with my views and my, you know, like, the way that I express myself, like, physically and emotionally and verbally and all the things. So people usually either love me or they hate me. So I'm okay with that.
Is the way you behave, is your own manifestation of your personality that you are showing every time.
Yeah, dude. I just try to be real. I really do. Like, I try not to lie to people. I try not to cheat people. I try to be good, but also to be an example that your life can be whatever you want it to be. Like, you can, like we were talking about earlier, like, you can wake up and be a completely different person from the person that you were yesterday. There's nothing stopping you from that. And I really try to be a shining light of the fact that, you know, you can be whoever you want to be. Like, life is not limited. Life is so chaotic and free, and we should all be enjoying that and, you know, being fully involved in it instead of holding ourselves back out of worry of what other people might think of us, or, oh, that would be embarrassing if I did that. I've missed so many opportunities from being embarrassed, you know, and, like, not wanting to, like, step out of my comfort zone and do something just out of the fear of other people looking at me. And that's... You can't do that, man.
How mature you say, I missed some opportunities in which I would look embarrassed. Wow. I'm an acolyte in Peru. An acolyte is a person who serves to the priest in the church, so I can move ornaments from one table to another. And an acolyte uses a kind of cloak, two kinds of cloak simultaneously. So when you are walking in a celebration, you know, Eucharistical celebration, you know what I'm talking about? Eucharistical celebration. Let's say in terms of in a reunion, in a spiritual reunion, like at a meeting where
like a
the body
ritual?
of Christ, Jesus Christ, is so in that
like
kind
communion.
of meeting. Exactly. So we are walking slowly, and we don't know if in any moment we are gonna slide down or we're gonna fall out in an embarrassing way, and a lot of people are watching at us.
Right.
So I'm changing my perspective, because I would say in that moment, hey, that would be so embarrassing. But now you are saying, I miss those moments in which I could have been looked embarrassed.
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
Wow.
Well,
this is shocking.
Well, that's just because being embarrassed is not only, like, a humbling experience. And I don't mean, like, I miss those moments, like I miss that moment, like, I wish that person would have pulled my pants down so I could have been embarrassed. No, not like that. Not like that. No. I mean, like, I didn't get up at, okay, so for my personal example, it would be like, I didn't get up at this festival and ask them if I could spin fire, if I could perform, right? If I could dance with my fire. I missed that opportunity because of that. Because I was just too scared of what they would have thought of me. But the worst thing they could have said is no, right? And
Yeah.
that was before, you know, I was involved in the community. But, like, you miss these opportunities just out of fear of not being good enough, or fear of looking a certain way or being perceived a certain way by other people. And we got to stop doing that shit, because life is so short. You have to take it into your hand. What is the saying where seize the day, Carpe diem? Is that what it is?
Carpe diem?
I think so. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
You gotta seize the day, man. You gotta make the day yours. You gotta make your life yours. And you need to be happy in whatever you have to do to seek out and find happiness. All the power to you. But whatever you do, don't stop yourself from fully living your life.
That is a great message. So inspirational. And yeah, we need to enjoy our lives and be ourselves, be authentic every time. Such a great end to finish this podcast. Thank you so much, Shaina.
Thank you.
I really 1,000 times really appreciate your presence here.
I appreciate you. Thank
How
you so much.
you share your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings. I could have been touched.
Oh,
Today I could have been
stop.
touched. And I'm not diminishing the previous podcasters, don't get me wrong. But the thing is that every human being is special because they are gifted in a different way. Diversity, we are different. That's what we should believe every
Absolutely.
time. And always see the bright side of the coin.
Thank you so much for your time. I am so honored to share this space with you, Manuel. I really appreciate you giving me this platform. It was wonderful. And you are an amazing human, and you're going to do amazing things. So thank you so much.
Appreciate it too. Yeah, we did it.
We did it! That was so fun, man.
Yeah. I can't feel my legs.